No, yesterday we had discussed about the about my profile, and also we have discussed about the how the training will be done by the Swapna IT. So we have seen how many days, everything we have seen yesterday, and what are the levels we need to cross it to become from Salesforce 0 to hero. So we have seen that part yesterday, and then we have also seen my team details, like what are the activities we are doing it as part of the institute and who will be taking care of it. We have a dedicated person who will be taking care of it each activity. So we have seen that yesterday. Now today, let's see the accounts and placement. Now, training is a one part. Salesforce training is where we are gaining the knowledge on the technical side. But the other side, once we gain the knowledge on the technical side, what are the activities that we have to do in order to present our resumes into the market? What are the things we have to do it? And how can we get the jobs and what are the activities that we have to do? So everything we will see. So accounts. So you need to make sure that you should be having a one Gmail account. That Gmail account name has to be there, your name plus Salesforce. Like, let's say here, Prerana. Okay, let's take a Prerana. So, Prerana Salesforce. Right? Or let's take Vijay Salesforce, or Yes Salesforce @gmail.com. Now, you need to create this in your one new Gmail account. So what will happen? What is the benefit if I create this Salesforce @gmail.com, Rahul Salesforce @gmail.com? What is the benefit if I create it? So whenever the companies or whenever the HR is trying to search for a person, or if they are trying to send an email to you, okay? Now, while explaining, the first thing they will ask you, can you provide your Gmail account? Right? It is easy to say my first name plus Salesforce @gmail.com, so that they will also remember your Gmail account. So that is the one way to present ourselves along with the Salesforce. So you need to create a one Gmail account, and whatever the activities we are doing it in daily. Whatever the activities we are doing it daily. For example, today we have completed, yesterday we have understood how our training structure is there and what are the levels are there, how to become Salesforce 0 to hero. So we have seen yesterday. Now, once we are done with the training, or once we are done with the session, the another activity is in the LinkedIn, you have to post at least 4 posts. That means in a day, whatever you have learned in 1 hour session, whatever we have learned, you have to post it in the LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you have to create an account. If you do not have an account, create an account in LinkedIn and post every day. You have to post 4. Minimum is a 4. Maximum is you can post it up to 1,000 posts. So this is another activity. By doing this, what will happen? You will be highlighted, like you are posting related to the Salesforce, right? Only Salesforce, whatever we are learning in 1 hour session, you are posting those activities or whatever you have learned in a day, you are posting that in the LinkedIn. So when we post in the LinkedIn, so what is happening? There are some keywords that gets highlighted by the HR, right? So it will be highlighted whenever the HR is trying to search those keywords, immediately it will see your post. And even whoever the members that are trying to learn from the LinkedIn, they will be also reaching out to you how this functionality will work, what is this topic, how to work it. Even the Salesforce members will be connecting with you. The whoever is working, they might be connecting with you for some help, or maybe by looking at your post, they might assume that you have a knowledge on Salesforce. So they will directly reach out to you. So this is another activity which we have to do once we start the training. And next we have a Naukri. So in the Naukri monster, these are the different activities where our resumes will be, we will be placing our resumes into the Naukri or monster. So from here, you need to create one account needs to be created in Naukri and Moonster. There are few keywords. You need to select those keywords and subscribe. So that what will happen, you will be receiving some kind of emails which you are looking for, which is related to your experience, your technology, your skills. You will be receiving an emails from the Naukri and Moonster. And then apart from this, we have another activity which we have to do is Trailhead. Now, Trailhead is Salesforce specific. It's kind of a playground. It's kind of a Trailhead is a playground. So in this playground, you need to practice it. Like Salesforce is going to provide scenario based and some stories they will give. And after reading the story or after going through the scenario at the bottom of the section, either you will see the practical session or you will see the multiple choice questions. So you need to complete it. So once you complete it, you will get a score. You'll get a score. So that is another activity where you can present it, how much you are learning. So Trailhead points is going to help you to add in your resume also. So these all activities we have to do when we are learning it. Now my team is going to explain how to do these all activities like a Gmail, LinkedIn, Naukri, Monster, Trailhead, how to do it. So starting off the like a basic sessions, my team will be explaining you. Right. So on Monday, so most probably Monday they will explain, but basic sessions, these are the basic sessions. So before you start learning any training, you should know these activities. Right? Because not only just focusing on the technical, along with the technical, we have to also focus on how can we highlight ourselves in the market so that when the HR is searching for some specific skills, our resumes or our post or our whatever the email ID or whatever we are posting it, it gets highlighted and people will reach out to us by looking at our post, right? So these are the different activities which we have to do. It's not only in India, everywhere we have to do. So my team is going to take a session on these 4 or 5 of them, how to do it, each one of them. So they will be explaining clearly. Okay, so this is other activities. Any question? Yeah. So let's move on. Now, coming to the Salesforce. Now, we all are here to learn Salesforce. But in generic understanding, what is Salesforce? Now, if somebody asks Salesforce, I have not heard about the Salesforce technology, what it is Salesforce? Because there are few members who works on a .NET for last 20 years, or a few members work on the SQL database management. They never hear about the Salesforce. If somebody asks, what is Salesforce? How, like in generic understanding, how can we make them to understand what is Salesforce? Any input? What is Salesforce? In generic, not in the technical term, but in generic, what is Salesforce?
Salesforce basically is a software which help us to interact with the customers, clients, or different peoples in the company, and even help us to maintain the relationship.
Okay. Jayashri says the software service provider. Sharath is saying that Salesforce is a cloud-based CRM. Okay, so Veer says it is a cloud storage CRM. Okay. Others, anyone?
Yeah, Salesforce is a customer relationship management system, which is a service-based one, which will build up the relationship between the company and the customer, and it will maintain the service and everything, like how to maintain the particular product, how it is going on, and the taking up the feedback from the customers, which is nothing but the maintaining the relationship with the customer.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's good. And Pritesh says it is a CRM cloud. Okay. Ramya says SF is a 360 of customer point of view degree. Okay. Perfect. So everybody seems like everybody has some idea about the Salesforce. That's good. You have any questions? 1607. Who is this? 1607. Raise your hand.
Yeah, I have a question what are the life cycle phases? Like there are different life cycle phases included. Like I am aware about the few of them.
What's your name?
Love.
Okay. So we'll discuss that part later. So right now we are understanding the sales. We'll see that later. Okay, so Bharat says that Salesforce is a software company which provides services to the customers. Okay, that's good. Pritesh says it is used for a B2B and B2C business. Okay, Srini says Salesforce is a cloud-based CRM service. Perfect. Okay, so everybody did some kind of a research before coming to this session. That's good to know. So Salesforce is it's a kind of a one software. It is a software, and this software is why we are using this software. We are building it. This is one kind of a software. And by using this software, what we can do, there are some business processor are there. There are some process. In order to automate this process, we need an application. And that application is a Salesforce application. So Salesforce application is going to help to automate a certain process or a system. In order to automate certain process or a system, we use a Salesforce. Now, any organization, if you take any organization, could be a healthcare or automobile, any organization you take, any organization has to manage the customer data. Whatever the business or whatever the organization is there, so they will be definitely having a customer. Could be a healthcare, could be a cosmetics, or could be a automobile. Everyone is having a customer, right? They have to manage the customer data. Who are the customers frequently coming to our company, and who are the customers are new, and who are the customers not happy with our product. So they have to track those information. They have to manage those information. And based on that, we need to, the organization or a company has to provide a best services or a different services. If the customer is not happy, they will be providing the different service. If the customer is happy and looking for more products, then they will try to see few more services. They will offer a few more services, even banking. So banking also has a customers. So the organization will be managing the customer data, and based on that analysis of the customer data, they will be providing the different services for each customer, right? So in order to do that, we need to store certain information. We need to store the data in the Salesforce. So one of the application is Salesforce to Salesforce. In Salesforce, I can store all the customer information, and I can track those information by running the report. We can analyze it, right? So based on that, we can take a action on it. So that's the reason this Salesforce is going to help in order to do that. So like for example, banks will be having a account holder. So if you want to hold the account information, right? So whenever we are opening, the customer is opening the account. So whenever we are opening the account, and we need to track all the information when the amount is debited, credited, and how much is the current bank balance. If it is a zero, then what we have to do. So all these activities we need to store it. So one of the organization is a bank, and the other one is a e-commerce. E-commerce is basically, it has a different process, customer processes, right? So they have to store the information. They have to store the information. Similarly, hospitals has to store the patient's data. Like this, every organization has a different customers. So hospital customers is different from the bank customer. But I need to store bank customer information, hospital customer information, patient details, everything we need to store. So whatever the organization it could be, Salesforce is the one application which is going to help in order to fulfill their requirement and improve their profits. Whatever the give for the profits, it can be in. So that is the Salesforce where it is going to be used in the organization. Any questions? This is a generic understanding at the very high level, which all are places Salesforce is used. If somebody asks what is the Salesforce, how to explain it? So we are clear. Now coming to the technical understanding. Now in technical, okay, Salesforce technical. What are the things that Salesforce has a technical thing which if I have to work in a Salesforce as a backend developer, not a front user, but who all can access the Salesforce. If the developer, what the developer can do. If the user is there, what user can do on Salesforce. If the customer is there, what customer can do on Salesforce. If the developer is there, what developer can do the Salesforce. And what is the client will be doing on the Salesforce. What are the technical understanding related to Salesforce. So Salesforce has the three things. One is a front end. So where the front end will be used by the users. Right, where the users will be opening up the form and entering the details, right? So everything they can front end part, either users or maybe I can say admin team, the client side, if there are any admin team who want to use the certain process, they can use the front end, right? So front end does not deal with any coding. So front end is just a form where I can enter the data. So I'm the user for Salesforce. If I'm user for Salesforce, I can open a Salesforce application, right? There is an application which is implemented in Salesforce. I can open that application, enter the data. For example, I wanted to buy a vehicle. If I want to buy a vehicle, I have to enter, first I need to go for a test drive. So for that, I need to enter my first name, last name, email, and address. So and so I have to give and submit it. Once I submit it, so what is happening here? The front end part, I'm entering the details as a end user because I want to go for a test drive. So that is a front end. Whereas the back end is nothing but once I enter the data, right? So that data has to be stored in the backend, right? So in Salesforce also has the backend where it is going to store all the data. Could be a user data, could be a process, could be a backend, could be a customer information, could be a product information, or could be an opportunity information. So all the data is stored in the backend. And then the third one, Salesforce has a business logic. The third one, which has a business logic. So business logic is basically it is. Now here we have this is the front end. In this front end, what the user is doing, user is entering the data. Once the user is entered the data, we have a backend. In the backend, the data gets stored. Now in the backend, the data gets stored. So here the data is getting stored. Now whatever the user has entered here, like a first name, last name, and email ID, and then we click on a submit button. Once we click on a submit button, the data has to drive back to the backend. In order to drive here, in between, we will be having some kind of a, which is called as a business logic. Now, this business logic is going to help, and it sits between the front end and back end. Business logic sits between the front end and back end, where it is going to play a major role. Whatever the data is entered in the front end, it will be passed to the business logic. Business logic is going to validate it, and it sends the information back to the data. Right, so it is going to send here backend. So this is the backend, front end, and this is the business logic. So this is the three things which we have in the Salesforce. So this is technical part of it. Any questions here? Okay, now we know the generic, how to explain the Salesforce, technical, what are the things are available we have. Now coming to CRM. Everybody says Salesforce is a CRM based. It is a CRM based. Now CRM is nothing but customer relationship management software. Customer relationship management software. Now this customer relationship management software is nothing but what? So there is some CRM application is there. We have one CRM application. Now what it is doing, why it is called as a customer relationship management? Because this application is going to take care of, it is going to take care of the marketing related activities, and it is going to take care of the Salesforce, because we have to do the marketing, then we have to do the sales, and we need to sell the product to the customers. Once we sell the product, then we need to provide some kind of a support to the customer. And if they have any problem, we have to provide a services to customer. And in case if they have ordered anything, then we have to provide we need to deliver that orders, or if there are anything, we need to provide the orders to the customer. And if there are any issues they have raised it, so we need to analyze those issues. So what is happening here, if you look at the entire cycle, if you look at this entire cycle, is everything is we are dealing related to the customer. Whatever the activities we are doing it, everything we are dealing with the customers, which is customer care, right? So this is all the things are specific to the customer. So that's the reason where we are doing the marketing, sales, support, service, orders, analysis, and customer care, communication. We have to also do the communication. Whenever there is a problem, they will call the customer care. During that time, we have to take care of the customer communication and customer care. All these activities which comes under the CRM. So that's the reason it is called as a customer relationship management. All the activities, whatever is doing within this application, everything is deal with customer. So that's right. So it is customer relationship management. Now, CRM is used to store and manage the customer data. We are storing the customer data, as well as we are maintaining the customer data in one place, like name of the person, mobile, email, address, anniversary. These are the few examples. Like this, we are storing like a customer address, permanent address, shipping address, billing address, all those things we will be storing into the CRM. So CRM is used to store and manage all the customer transaction from day one to till date, whatever is happening. The day the customer has registered their information in application, till whatever the date it is, like we are going to maintain all the activities, whatever they are doing it. Everything can be tracked inside the Salesforce application. like ATM transaction, right? So in the ATM transaction, like what are the from which ATM the person is withdrawing the, from which ATM they were facing the problem, and when it was not detected, everything we can track it. Similarly, patient records, like there is a few patients, they like a diagnosis members or few patients, they will come every week. And in a week, one day they have to visit to the hospital. So what are the dates that they have visited to the hospital, which doctor they have consulted, and what is the medicine that is provided by the doctor. Everything can be tracked, even purchasing in the e-commerce, what are the purchases are happening, and when the purchase is happened, what are the product has purchased it, and what is the cost of it, did they give any feedback related to purchase or not, everything can be tracked. So these all activities, even every individual activity can be tracked, which is tracked inside the Salesforce. So Salesforce is a cloud-based, it is a cloud. So is storage mechanism. We are storing the data in cloud system. That means it is not in the local. So then if you are installing it in the system, so for example, we are installing in the system. When we install in the system, where is the software? Software is in my local machine, right? But Salesforce, we are not installing in our local machine. We are not installing in our local machine. So we are using it. Salesforce is stored in the cloud, and we are accessing the Salesforce with the URL. So we are providing some URL here, and when we enter the URL, it will ask us the credentials, username and password. By entering the username and password, we will click on the submit button, then we will be able to access the Salesforce. So it is cloud, and whatever the data I'm entering here, everything will be stored inside the cloud. Now, cloud software is accessed by using the username and password with the help of browser and internet, as we have discussed, like a similar to the accessing a Gmail. We are not installing the Gmail, right? We are just entering the URL and enter our credentials related to the Gmail. Similar like a Facebook. Facebook also we are not installing it. We are just entering the URL www.facebook.com, and then we will enter our credentials, and whatever the postings we are doing it, everything will be stored in the cloud. Right? Similarly, Gmail, whatever the emails that we are sending, whatever the emails that we are receiving it, everything is stored in the cloud. So you can open Gmail anywhere. It no need to be installed. Similar like Gmail, Facebook, and other things. Salesforce is also, you can just use the URL, enter the credentials, and whatever the data you are entering, everything is stored in the. Any questions? For whatever we have discussed. Just fill out the forms. There is a form that is given in the chart. So just make sure you guys are filling that form. So this is the form. Let me open. So all the 20 members, whoever is the 20 members or the 25 members, all the 25 members, please submit this form.
అరే సో సంపత్ వాళ్ళది
Make sure everybody is filling the form here. So that's about the sales cloud. Now let's move on to Salesforce CRM, cloud storage, dev platform. Now we have seen the Salesforce CRM and we know how the cloud works, cloud storage and dev platform. Let's see this. Now Salesforce is a cloud vendor. It is a cloud vendor. Now Salesforce is provides the Salesforce CRM as a ready-made application. Now, as soon as you enter your credentials, right? So we are accessing the Salesforce by entering the URL here, salesforce.com. And then it will ask you to enter the username, password, and then click on submit. Once you click on submit, now it does not open the Salesforce in the code format, right? The Salesforce is providing some application, ready-made application they are providing it. So as soon as you enter the details, you will see some application by default Salesforce is providing it. So this default, whatever the ready-made applications are there, you can open those ready-made applications. For testing purpose, you can enter some data in the customer. Like a customer data you can enter, or an opportunity data you can enter, product data you can enter. So the default application is also have some flexibility where you can enter the data and this data will be stored in the cloud. So Salesforce is providing this facility. So you need not to do anything. So as soon as you create it, there is a default applications will be available. So you can use those applications to manage the customer data and automate the business process. And also, whenever you create the credentials, Salesforce is also creating some kind of a storage is allocated for this user, right? So whenever you create the credentials in the Salesforce, so first time you are creating the credentials. When you create a first time the credentials, like there is a link, you will see that link later. So when you are creating for the first time, you need to give your first name, last name, email ID, and which country, and everything you have to provide it. So based on the country, so Salesforce is going to run some backend logic. Based on this logic, it is going to allocate the storage mechanism for this user. It is going to allocate the storing mechanism for this user. So by default, even for the whatever for the practicing purpose also, they will create a storage mechanism. So our Salesforce provides a development environment platform to configure the existing Salesforce CRM application as per the business requirement. Okay, so this is all about we have seen the very basic level, high level Salesforce CRM at different things. Right, let's stop.